Hi, my friends. Welcome back. I am having a wonderful time with our weather here in Tucson, Arizona. It's turning beautiful. It's almost like spring wants to hit for a week here. So I decided I wanted to start thinking about making a resin clutch purse just to help with the warm vibes that are headed towards us. So I am starting by mixing some clear resin. I'm using Nick Pro resin, which is on my favorite brands list. And I am mixing 8 ounces of resin in this giant silicone cup. I need to clean my tools, and this is the smallest cup I had for mixing. I am using a Pixis resin mixer just to help me stir the resin. I am scraping the sides and the bottom as I go. And you can see I have a timer going. This resin calls for 4 minutes of mix time. And I love it because there are not a lot of air bubbles in here. So when I hit that 4-minute mark, I'm going to start by cleaning my tools. I have found cleaning as I go is the best way to work with resin. Otherwise, my tools get sticky and maybe the resin will harden on them. Then it's harder to clean. So just overall, clean as I go is the best lesson I have learned. And it's super easy. I am just using some baby wipes just to clean off the resin. Then done. I have some Dixie cups here, and I'm going to, whoops! Aside from pouring resin all over my table, I'm going to pour them in the cups after I clean up. Accidents happen, and it is just so important. Clean up resin as you go. If I left this resin on my table, then it will get all over my molds, and it just causes a mess to clean up. It's just so important. I can't stress it enough. Clean as you go. After I poured a little bit of resin into each cup, I added a scoop of the Hippie Crafter mica powder, dark blue and light blue, into 2 cups, and a white resin paste by Colorberry into the 3rd cup. After I mix these colors in the small amount of resin, I will add the remaining resin. I found this way of mixing helps lessen the mistakes I make and the messes I make while mixing. After I have those all mixed up, I am going to create a blend of small pebble rocks and white sand that I did get at the Michaels Arts and Crafts floral area. And then I'm going to add the rest of my clear resin into this. Now, I made this mix way too thick, and because I only mixed 8 ounces of resin for this project, I don't have any extra resin, and this is one of the few times I don't mix more resin. So I added a little bit of the white resin because I know I won't need all that white for my project into here, and that worked well. That helped. It helped make the mixture not so thick, but look it's still thick, but that's okay. I'm gonna go with it. We're just gonna see what happens. So now I am plopping this resin mixture into one of my molds, and I am trying to push this mixture into the sides of the mold. Not too much because I don't want to bend the mold, but just enough to get down in there. And I'm using my silicone stir stick for this. It's really helpful. It's almost like a spatula. Just scrape and push in there. And I'm not worried about making a mess right now because I will clean up after I get my design finished in here. And once I get this mold done, I will do the same to the mold on the bottom. Now here is my version of cleaning up a little bit using my finger just to slide it into the sides, just to get it to where I want it to be. And I'm okay with the little bits on the top, no big deal. I do want a little bit of sand a little everywhere because, you know, in the ocean, sand is everywhere. Now, as I'm working on this next one, I wanted to talk a little bit about resin safety. I'm going to put a link in the description box below for an article I have written on resin safety. And I do encourage you, go visit it. Even if you're an advanced resin user, it can't hurt to have a little bit of refresher. Resin is a toxic chemical. It's a two-part chemical. And it can cause some severe health problems if you are not careful. I am using gloves in my project. I have my windows open. I have plenty of ventilation in here. And I am cleaning up spills as I go. If you don't clean up spills, there is a chance you can touch it some other time because you're going to forget about it, get it on your clothes, get it on your skin, you're going to forget about it. Just clean as you go. All right, once I'm done fidgeting with my molds, I am getting a baby wipe and cleaning the perimeter of the sand as best as I can. And I went ahead, decided I'm going to clean a little bit on the inside because when I add my resin, some will push into the center, and that's okay. I just don't want to get too carried away. And starting with my light blue resin, I'm going to add some to the mold. And then I'm going to flood it with some dark blue resin, put some light blue in the highlights. And then for the super fun part, I got my seashells. I did get these at the Michaels Floral Center also. And I'm just kind of placing them, selecting, deciding what looks good, what I like. And this is turning out so awesome. I am excited about this. So fun. Now it is time to add the white and to start heating our resin and creating some waves. As I'm using this heat tool, I am pushing the white into the blue and I am heating the resin. Now we got to be careful. Don't want to heat the resin too much because then we'll speed up the curing process and possibly mess up our project. So I'm just heating it enough until I can see the consistency change with the resin. It gets thinner, and I can see the white flowing. It's so pretty, so much fun, and the lacing starts. So much fun. What a fun magic trick this is, and I'm so happy with how this is turning out. Now that I have a little bit of resin left, I'm going to add it down the sides of my clutch purse where I put that white sand. And this is just in hopes to add some more liquid down in there because I am kind of wondering if that sand was too thick. So we're just going to have to see what happens. Here is a close-up of my project before I cover it. And It is so awesome. Awesome, awesome. Now, when this cures, it isn't going to look exactly like this. It is going to move, but we are going to cover it, leave it for 24 hours before I demold. Now, after 24 hours, this clutch purse will be hard and it'll seem like it is done curing, but it is not. It is hard enough to demold, and I'm taking my time demolding this, even though it is a super easy project to demold, but I don't want any bits of the sand side to fall off in case I didn't get enough resin in there, and I don't want to tear my mold. So I'm just cleaning up a little bit of the sand that's stuck up, and I do see some holes, and we will address those shortly here, but this looks really good. It is heavy because of the weight of the resin, the sand, the rocks, and the seashells, but it looks great. Now this piece will be the back of our clutch purse. I did put the seashells only on one side because the back will go toward your body, and I don't want any seashells poking me when I use it. And again, just taking my time, popping out the resin, and whoa, looks beautiful. But yeah, look at those little spots that are in there in the side where the sand was just too thick, and now I've got some holes in my side. And no worries, we are going to fix those shortly here. Now, before I do anything else, I did get the clutch frame out, and this is available on Amazon, and it's a really awesome frame that goes with this mold, but I want to dry fit it into the frame. I want to make sure that the sand and the curing process didn't warp my project, because sometimes if you put too much in there, it'll stretch the mold and then it won't fit. So far it looks great, and I'm going to place the back in. It fits nice, it's snug. Gonna open it up, just checking it out, see where those holes are, see what I need to cover and fix, and looks good. So I'll just pop it right back out, set that aside, and now we are going to fix those holes. I cut a piece of clear acetate, and that's all I had on hand, and it needs to be something plastic, acetate, silicone, something. But this plastic acetate is strong. I'm going to place it behind the hole that I need to fix. I'm going to pour some UV resin in a cup, put some blue resin dye in there, mix it up with a pipette, and just a little light blue. We don't want dark, just something to color it, something that'll accent my purse. And I'm going to place the acetate behind it with my finger, pour it in the hole, and then cure it. And the first minute of curing, I do need a hold. After the first minute, it should be a solid form of UV resin to where I can just keep it under there and don't have to hold it. So I let it cure for 3 minutes, and then I pop that plastic off, testing it to make sure it's hard. I use anything hard like scissors just to tap it, and finish curing it. And look, it looks great. So I'm gonna keep doing it to all the little its and bits all around both pieces. And as I looked at it, I found so many little holes. So this process, it really did take me a long time to do. I think I was probably an hour and a half, but I did start to catch up on my TikToking as I was letting this cure. You can see by my phone in the corner. I'd find a TikTok, watch it, scroll, watch it, scroll. Fill, watch it, scroll. So yeah, I kept entertained, and this was well worth the process. It turned out beautiful, and I learned a lot about mixing resin with epoxy resin. It does work. You just need to make sure you're curing your UV resin and just going with it. Okay, now that I got all those little its and bits done, I did let this rest for 24 hours because I spent so much time on the UV resin part. I needed a break. So the next day I came in, got the frame out, and I dry fit it first, make sure I have the right side up, and then using my E6000 adhesive, I put it into the channel of the frame, being mindful of not overfilling and not getting the adhesive on any of the plastic sides that are on this frame. I don't want to make a mess with this. So after I followed it along, put the cap back on because it is leaky, it's easy to leak out, and I snapped it in there. And I want, since this is the heavier side, I wanted to do this first. So I let that set for about an hour. I came back and then I did the back side the same way. Just fill the channel, being mindful of not overfilling and making a mess, and then placing the back in. And it is snug, it fits perfectly. I do need to let this glue sit and cure, but I was super excited. So I went ahead, tested it, make sure I didn't get glue on the inside, make sure the plastic is still good. And then this purse strap came with the kit, so I just went ahead and snapped it on. And I think it does look good. And you can use any purse strap you want to make or have. And there we go. Just let it sit, let the glue dry, and I did let it sit on the bottom, so like this but closed. I let it sit for 30 days before I started using it, because remember, resin appears cured after the first 48 hours, but it really is not. It needs some time. So thank you so much for watching this and for creating this with me. I do appreciate your comments. Let me know if you've made one like this. Let me know if you have questions. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.